Welcome, everyone, to Tuesday night's tilt between the Shakopee Sabers and the Rosemount Irish. Got Anderson, Rampart, Tochek, Smith, and Jedabaric on the ice for the Sabers. Rosemount into their offensive zone. Got the puck behind the net, centering pass, tipped by Smith, and she'll clear. That puck's going to go all the way down the puck for an icing. Quinn Minesti in the net for the Sabres. Zoe Lewis is under the weather, so I believe we have Addie Malone as the emergency goalie. Quinn will probably play the full game. We'll see. Rampart on the draw. Bouncing puck tips out. Goes past the Rosemount D. Anderson tries to bring it into the zone. Her pass to Tochek gets intercepted. Rosemount pass into the neutral zone. Chip down below the goal line by Rosemount. There was a little traffic. Centering pass, there's nobody home. Anderson and a Rosemount defender racing for the puck. Schuler gets a stick on it. Rosemount pops out of there, tries to wheel, but the puck is going to go out into the neutral zone. Rosemount will regroup. One of their defenders coming through with some speed. He's going to drive the net. Nice pass, but a beautiful save by Vanesti. Got across from one side of the crease to the other very nicely. Shako changed on the fly. We've got Schuler, Knutson, McNee, and John Choi, along with Chloe Krisak, who just changed out. Puck goes all the way down for another icing. And we'll come back into the Sabres defensive zone. Barrick and Cam Krisak at D. Knutson, John Choi, and McNee. McNee is the leading point getter for the Sabres this year, 6 goals and 4 assists. Face-off won by Rosemount, dropped back to the D, but McNee got out there, got a stick on the puck before they could get a shot off. Maintained possession of the puck, though. Rosemount backhand gets the puck down by the goal line. No angle shot, but Vanesti was there. Wraparound attempt, stuffed twice by Vanesti. She's getting a good workout early. Puck goes back to the defender. Knutson closed her well, but Rosemount manages to hold on to the puck and keep it in the zone. She drives the net, tries a backhanded wraparound, but she couldn't swing it around. It goes all the way across Rosemount onto the far side of the ice. Rosemount still on the puck. Shakopee having a heck of a time clearing. Knutson will take it out of the zone, though. Coming through neutral. Tries to put the puck down the ice, but pops into the Rosemount bench, and we'll get a stoppage. Shakopee will change all 5 skaters, I think. We've got Huberty, Telejohn, Carlson as the forwards, Schuler and Smith as the D. Face-off bounces strangely over to Smith, who dumps it in deep. Telejohn on the forecheck. Carlson up there with her. Loses an edge. Telejohn pressuring, but Outlet manages to get past Smith, and Rosemount's back in the offensive zone. Puck controlled by Rosemount, but tipped out by Carlson. That'll clear the zone. Rosemount will have to go back and regroup. Stringing up a couple of nice passes together through the neutral zone, and we're right back in the offensive zone. Centering pass cut out by Huberty. She'll go off the near side boards up to Telejohn, who chips it down the ice. Everyone's changing. Carlson actually gets to the puck first. It's a slap shot that gets partially deflected. Went in, easily stopped by the goalie. Rosemount kicks it back out. Puck goes to Chloe Krisak. She tries to go cross ice to Anderson, but puck gets caught in traffic, and Rosemount able to change on the fly. Good pressure there by Tochek and Anderson on the forecheck. Puck pops out to Krisak. She'll backhand it down to the end line, down to the boards. Toe check on the forecheck. Gets the puck to Anderson, but gets deflected. Nice backhanded centering pass by Krisak, but nobody's home. Rosemount goalie covers 11:02 left in the first. The D will change. Barrick and Smith into the game. Anderson, Rampart, and Tochek will stay. Rampart's the leading scorer for this, or the leading goal scorer, I should say, for the Sabres. Got 7 goals on the season, 2 assists. Rosemount putting good pressure on up at the blue line and manages to get the puck out of the zone and down the ice. Barrick retreats into the Sabres zone. Outlet pass to Tochek is just out of her reach. Rosemount defender will try a wrister from the blue line, but doesn't trouble Vanesti. She'll glove it easily and cover. Shakopee in a hole early. Shots on goal favoring the Irish 7-1. Face off on the far side circle. Won by John Choi. Puck goes to Barrick. She'll go skate behind the net. Kicks it out to McNee. Tries to go up the boards to Knutson. Intercepted momentarily by Rosemount. Sabres got it back. McNee tried to pass to Knutson that got all the way down to the boards behind the net. McNee ties up Rosemount Irish defender behind the net, momentarily preventing the outlet. Good forecheck pressure by Shakopee. Backhanded centering pass didn't quite get to John Choi. Rosemount is pretty aggressive. They're going to drive the net. Vanesti in good position. She's able to hold on to it and cover. The Irish transition pretty quickly up the ice. Forwards are driving the net pretty hard as soon as they turn the corner, so Vanesti was in good position there. Get a line change. Huberty, Luth, Telejohn, and then Schuler and Chloe Krisak. Shot goes just wide. Krisak gets tied up on the near side boards. Luth is there helping, but puck gets poked out. Huberty comes out of there with it, but Rosemount right on her. She's unable to do much with the puck. Schuler pins it against the boards. Forecheck pressure and good battling by the Irish. Puck pops out to Telejohn. She'll go cross ice to Luth. Gets a stick on it. It's going to go all the way down the ice. We're going to end up back in the Shakopee zone. We are short and official, so extra work for Stripes. It's hard work covering that much ice by yourself, but she's done a decent job so far. Huberty on the draw. Puck won by Rosemount. She'll carry it down the boards. Telejohn deflects the pass outside the zone, but Rosemount able to collect. Puck chipped in on Vanesti. Took a funny hop off the stick, but nothing too dangerous. Still controlled in the zone. Wrister goes wide. Comes off to the near side boards. Rosemount will connect on a pass down the boards, but tied up. Luth tries to clear, but intercepted by Rosemount. Krisak will pin their forward to the boards, but the puck comes out of there on an Irish stick momentarily. Schuler half spins, and she'll get it up to Telejohn, who's going to chip it all the way down the ice for an icing. 8:20 left. Sabres still with just the singular shot on goal, spending a lot of time in the defensive zone. Tochek, Anderson, and Rampart back in the game, along with Barrick and Cam Krisak. D-to-D pass by Rosemount. Good pressure by Anderson and intercepted by Rampart. She'll skate it out, but she gets tied up in the neutral zone, and Rosemount able to control the puck momentarily. Pops back to Barrick. She tries to go through the neutral zone to Anderson. Tried to spin around and catch the pass, but couldn't get to it. Puck mishandled by Rosemount. Anderson's going to get it. Centering pass was bouncing. Nobody could get a stick on it. Out to Krisak. Shot gets deflected off a skate. She stops the clearance. Puck gets deflected by Rampart. Redirect. That was a good opportunity. Puck will be iced by Rosemount. And we'll come back into the offensive zone. It was a good little flurry by the Sabres. First little bit of pressure that probably made the Irish a little bit nervous. McNee, Knutson, and John Choi back into the game, along with Smith and Schuler. John Choi on the draw. She'll go with the backhanded, I think, if we ever get the puck to be dropped. Yep, goes to the backhand and wins it. Schuler steps in, gets a nice wrister. Rosemount goalie was in good position, but that was a good shot by Schuler. She's scored this season. Got 1 goal and 3 assists, so she can put the puck in the net. Face-off won by John Troy. Again, same thing happened. That wrist shot got stopped by a Rosemount defender before it got to the goalie. They'll exit the zone. Shakopee doing a good job through the neutral zone, holding that one up. Sabres. Oh, good. We got the second ref. Better late than never. Centering pass. Rosemount got a stick on it, but unable to get the shot off. Shakopee deflected. Errant clearance pass by the Sabres, and Rosemount's going to have another go at it. Rister goes wide. McNeil chip it up the boards, but Rosemount expecting it and regrouping. They're right back in the zone. Schuler rides the Rosemount forward into the boards. Puck deflects. McNee backhands it up the ice. Knutson giving chase. Rosemount goes hard off the far side boards. Shakopee in the middle of a partial change. Carlson's on the ice, along with Chloe Krisak and Cam Krisak. Knutson comes off. Telejohn, the puck bounces right to her right after she got on the ice. So Huberty, Telejohn, and Carlson up front. Centering pass by Carlson. Oh, Huberty deflected the puck. Good kick save by the Rosemount goalie. Nice pass from Telejohn out to Krisak on the point. She used the boards well there. Krisak had a wrister, but didn't get through the traffic. Her sister goes back to collect the puck. Wheels a little bit too hard off the board. Oh, bouncing puck. Took a funny bounce just over Vanesti's leg, and Rosemount finally gets a goal. Sabres are down 1-0. It's an unfortunate bouncing knuckle puck, and just took a weird bounce. Of all the decent opportunities Rosemount has had, the weak double hopper is the one that gets in the net. So 1-0 Rosemount, 5:40 left in the first. Rampart, Anderson, and Tochek back in the game. Rosemount into the zone. Wrist shot is deflected by Smith. Centering pass gets to target. Backhanded shot. Vanesti was in good position, able to deflect. Puck goes out to the Rosemount D. Gets wristed back in, and Vanesti made the first save. Rosemount was in great position on the follow, but Vanesti made the first save, and then the second follow hit the side of the net. Anderson will go down to collect. Rosemount closes quickly, and she can't clear the puck. Puck bounces over Smith's stick, and the Irish are back on it. Nice centering pass and a great save. Clearance effort by Smith's fan. She goes backhand around the far side. Tochuk will get it. She chips it up the boards. Anderson's giving chase. There will be no icing there. She's all by herself. Backhands it, but nobody's with her. John Troy and McNee into the game and quickly onto the forecheck. Anderson will be the last one off that previous line to get off the ice. And there's McNee and Knutson. Rosemount moving quickly and just dangles all the way through the Shakopee team. That was an impressive individual effort by number 15 something, 19. 15 for Rosemount. I'm sure the Shakopee coaches are talking a little bit about going through the hands rather than just flailing the stick out there. 2-0 Irish. Sabers dug themselves a hole pretty quickly. Faceoff gets kicked around. McNee comes out of there with it. It's quickly closed down. Gets the puck to John Choi, who loses it. Rosemount's coming out of their end. 22 will skate it all the way down the ice. She gets pinned. John Choi and Krisak back there. John Choi with a nice exit pass to McNee. She gets slowed up, goes backhand to Knutson. She's got some speed. Drop pass to McNee. Wrister goes high. Huberty back in the game in the right spot on the forecheck. Manages to intercept the puck and get a wrister on net. Rosemount goalie covered relatively easily. 3:28 to go in the first. Luth into the game along with Telejohn. John Choi will stay along with Barrick and Cam Krisak. Rosemount wins the draw, maintains possession of the puck in their zone. Outlet pass gets intercepted by Krisak. Puck ends up on Telejohn's stick. Wrister kicked aside by the Irish goalie. Barrick with the aggressive pinch to try to keep the puck in the zone and manages to disrupt the exit strategy from Rosemount. Puck chipped in deep. Huberty and Telejohn chasing, along with one of the Irish centering pass. Luth was there, but she got tied up. I think the bouncing puck maybe got over her stick, and Rosemount is back on the counter. Barrick's in a good spot, but she's going to get called for a trip, I believe. So that'll be the first penalty of the game. Jetta Barrick's going to go in the box. Shakopee will be on the penalty kill for the next 2 minutes. 2:40 left in the first period. So the majority of that, the rest of the period, will be spent on the kill. Rampart, Tochek, Smith, and Schuler, I believe, are on the kill. Rosemount controls the draw. Schuler able to tie him up on the far side boards. She's going 1-on-2. Doing excellent work. That's hard work, battling on the boards. Puck pops out to Rampart. She chips it. Tries to chip it up and out, but didn't have enough juice on it. Backhanded effort from Rosemount goes wide behind the net. Schuler comes out of there with it. Exit pass took a funny bounce off the stanchion and kicked right into the slot, but Sabers able to get it out of the zone in spite of that. Cross-ice pass does not connect. Comes into the Shakopee zone. Smith clears. They'll end up down in the Rosemount defensive zone. Quick entry through the neutral zone. Wrister is easily saved by Vanesti. 1:05 left on the penalty. Shaka will change the kill unit. Huberty, Telejohn, Krisak, and Krisak. Huberty on the draw. Rosemount wins the draw. D-to-D pass will come over to the near side. Wrister goes wide. Krisak was in good position to tie up the Rosemount forward out in front of the net, not let her get a redirect there. Rosemount controls the puck, though, and they're still on it. Telejohn on the pressure. Good spin by Krisak. Tries to slap her clear, but didn't get enough on it. And Rosemount able to keep it in the zone. Krisak battling on the near side boards. Telejohn going to help out. Puck comes out of there. Rosemount gets possession of it behind the net. Centering pass out to the point. Kicks over the stick and goes out into the neutral zone. 15 seconds left on the penalty. Telejohn doing a good job making it hard for Rosemount to enter the zone. Wrister hits Vanessa up high on the chest, but she makes the save. Puck kicks to the corner, and the penalty is officially over. Rosemount still has possession of the puck. Wrist shot hits Krisak high. There's no way Vanessa saw the first couple of those shots, but she manages to stop the third one that she could see. 25 seconds left in the period, and Shakopee just trying to escape the period at this point. McNee gets the puck out. It's going to go down the ice. Icing is waved. Goalie plays it anyway. 13 seconds left, and Rosemount trying to make a last-second push. 16 for Rosemount will skate it up the ice. She lays it back to number 15. Centering pass ends up harmless, but tough period for the Sabres. Irish came out firing and have a 2-0 lead. Outshot the Sabres 15-6. Take a brief hiatus. No Zamboni until after the second period. All right. Second period about to start. Sabres will be heading left to right this period. Maybe the ice will tilt a little bit in our favor this period. Rampart, McNee, Knutson out on the ice. Looks like coach is jumbling the lines a little bit. McNee into the zone. Puck goes to Rampart. Loses it to an Irish poke check, and Irish quickly into their offensive zone. Ridden off the puck by Barrick. Rampart down there with their centering pass gets deflected out to the Rosemount D, who backhands it back into the zone. Smith collects it, goes up the boards to McNee, who goes back to Smith. She pops the puck out. It ends up on Barrick's stick. She'll chip it. It's going to end up all the way down the ice. I think we're going to get an icing there. I think Barrick was either expecting one of the forwards to chase that or maybe just hit it a little bit too hard. But puck will come back into the Sabre defensive end. Get a full change for the Sabres. Schuler and Krisak at D, Huberty, Anderson, and Tocek at the forwards. Rosemount controls the draw. Puck comes out of the zone. Huberty with good pressure. Quickly run down by the Rosemount defender. Wrister. Nice drop pass to Tocek. She gets a wrist shot. Little extracurriculars after the whistle. Like to see that. Rosemount D didn't like the proximity of Anderson to their goalie. Took exception to that. Rosemount controls the puck. Anderson ends up with it down behind the boards. She spins, tries a backhanded centering pass that is cleared. Puck pops out. in the center. Anderson gets it back to Schuler. She's going to wrist it off the far side boards. Tochek will run it down. She's run off the puck by the Irish center. Puck pops out, ends up down in the Shakopee zone on Krisak's stick. She tries to clear, hits an Irish stick. They try to regroup. Puck will go all the way down the ice. Their goalie retrieves it. Anderson with some good pressure. Carlson on the forecheck loses an edge. Telejohn onto the ice as well. Rosemount enters the zone with some speed. Centering pass goes right to Carlson, who intercepts. She'll skate it out. She's got some space. She'll find Luth on the near side. Rister goes high and wide. Smith holds it in, goes back around the boards. Rosemount will ring it around. Telejohn's going to win the race to that puck. Carlson over to help her out, along with two Irish players. Carlson backhands it to Smith. Rister is either kicked or sticked wide by the Rosemount goalie. Pops back out to Smith, who steps into a wrist shot. Puck deflects. I think it might have hit Carlson and a Rosemount defender and just rolled right past the near side post. Smith holds the zone in again. She's doing a great job over there. Backhanded back behind the net by McNee. McNee and Knutson were able to change while we had the puck in the offensive zone. Luth still out there from the previous line. Rosemount still can't clear. Puck goes around the back of the net. Luth going for a change, and Rosemount able to clear the puck. Icing gets waved. It bounced over Krisak's stick. Rosemount's going to win the race to the puck. Centering pass gets cut out. That's Smith coming up the ice. She's got Knutson and McNee. Puck gets slowed up, and they both have to peel off, losing a little bit of speed there. But Knutson gets a stick on the puck, hold it in the zone momentarily. Rosemount will exit the zone, coming back into their offensive zone. Centering pass goes wide. Knutson's going to collect. She'll go cross ice to McNee. Coming through the neutral zone, she takes a wrister from deep, gets sticked aside. Rampart's going to run that rebound down, but there's a Rosemount defender there. She backhands it towards the middle of the net. Nobody there. Rampart's still on the puck. Centering pass by McNee hits a Rosemount skate. She almost got a goal out of that. She got one this weekend in similar fashion out in Marshall. That one was just a little bit wide. Rosemount back on the attack. Rister gets blocker saved by Vanesti. Pops off to the near side boards. Shakopee controls the puck. That's Barrick controlling the puck, but she loses it. Rosemount wheeling. Centering pass got caught in the skates of number 12. And Knutson, I believe, able to clear that puck. Rosemount through the neutral zone. Rampart on the nice defense by Shakopee. Thought they might have a breakout there. Anderson tried to tip the puck past the last defender, but Rosemount got a stick on it and managed to hold up the counterattack. Barrett gets ridden off the puck into the far side boards. Rosemount back on the attack, but puck cleared. Barrett is trying to change, but she'll stay on the ice on the forecheck. Pass from Rosemount goes all the way through the neutral zone down to the end of the ice, and we will get a stoppage. 9:50 left in the second period. 2-0 Rosemount. Faceoff will come into the Saber offensive zone. Anderson, Huberty, Tochek, Krisak on the ice. Shot gap is narrowed, 16-12, so took a little while for the Sabres to get their sea legs, but the game has evened out a little bit. Puck held on the far side boards. Anderson fell down, but her and Tochek managed to hold the puck in momentarily. Rosemount eventually able to clear. Tochek goes back to Cam Krisak. Goes up the boards to Huberty. Huberty pressuring the Rosemount D. They're going to go off the far side boards. Chloe Krisak tries to step up. Puck gets backhanded past her. Rosemount driving the net. That's probably the third or fourth time they've been able to turn the corner and drive the net hard. That time it was number 15. She has one of the goals. Vanesti in good position, though. Shot got stopped and she was able to cover. Carlson on the draw, loses. Telejohn out. Pressure on the puck. Carlson tied up by Irish forward, but she'll pull the puck out and skate it out. Pass to Luth was a little too far. Luth got a stick on it, but couldn't control it. Heads out to the neutral zone. Sabres run into each other. It was Smith and Carlson. Rosemount able to take advantage of that and get the puck back into their offensive zone. Schuler back to collect it. Nice little stop and go with the puck. Goes up to Telejohn. Centering pass to Luth got deflected right to a Rosemount defender. Smith able to prevent the entry, but Rosemount able to dump it deep and get the change. They have one forward on the forecheck. She's able to cause enough trouble and wait for reinforcements to arrive. Rosemount able to hold it in. Wrister from the blue line got deflected behind the net, but Rosemount able to maintain possession of it. Centering pass there got cut out, and Schuler goes off the boards all the way down the ice on net, able to save the icing. Shakopee gets a change, but Rosemount quickly back on the attack. Knutson slows down the advance there. Wrister ends up going wide. Luth, Rampart, and Knutson as the forwards, and Barrick and Krisek, the defenders for the Sabres. Barrick able to get the puck up to Knutson. Knutson, Rampart trying to decide who should do something with it, and pops out of there, and Barrick will skate it out. She's got some speed. She wants to attack. She'll chip it and skate around the Rosemount D, and she'll be first to the puck. Puts the brakes on, tried to backhand it, but puck was a little too far past her stick. McNee put some pressure on, but Rosemount able to momentarily control the puck. Centering pass for Rampart got cut out by a Rosemount defender. McNee pressures the exit, and the puck deflects up into the Shakopee bench. 6:46 left in the second. Shakopee will leave McNee, Rampart, and Knutson on the ice along with Smith and Chloe Krisak. Face-off won by Rosemount. I'm getting tired of saying that. But Knutson able to turn them over. Puck goes back out to Smith, who plays it back behind the boards. Rosemount comes out of there with the puck. Nice exit pass through the neutral zone. That's going to be offsides, but they let it sit, and Knutson will come back to collect it. Pass to McNee. Gets cut out by Rosemount, and they will regroup. Chip up the boards into the neutral zone. Gets kicked back by Rampart. She'll play it back into the zone and go for a change. McNee turns over the Rosemount defender. Had a great opportunity, but the goalie was in good position, and the wrister gets smothered. Huberty, Tochak, Anderson back on the ice along with Cam Krisak and Schuler. Face-off won by Rosemount. Tochak and Huberty putting some pressure on. Exit comes through the neutral zone. Number 7 for Rosemount's got it. Takes a hard wrister up to the glove side that Vanesti is able to grab and hold on to. Huberty will take the draw. She'll tie him up. Actually wins the draw and backhands it back to the boards, but Rosemount able to get there first. Wrister goes off the corner of the post / crossbar. Shakopee got a little lucky there. Puck comes all the way out. Tocek and Anderson giving some pressure. Puck played behind the Rosemount net over to the far side boards. It bounces over a Shakopee stick and ends up in the Shakopee defensive zone. Rosemount able to prevent Shakopee from exiting the zone momentarily. Huberty will play it up the ice, but harmless for Rosemount as they'll skate back and collect it. Anderson and Tocek on the forecheck, but get split. Carlson comes in. Rosemount will wheel. Try the centering pass. Gets cut out by Tocek. Centering pass goes to Carlson, who collects it. Nice stick work to get through the neutral zone, but she gets ridden into the boards. Smith comes out of there with the puck. Telejohn went to help Carlson. Centering pass gets deflected wide. Goes to Barrick, who goes back to Telejohn. Shot goes off a shin pad straight up in the air. Nobody knew where it was. Eventually, Rosemount found it, played it in on net. Vanesti plays it nicely with the stick. Back to Barrick. Rosemount was on the change. Puck comes out to Barrick, who keeps it in the zone but gets cut out on the stick of the Rosemount Irish. Skater for Rosemount loses an edge and hits the boards hard, but nothing there. Smith up the far side boards. It was Luth. Gets cut off by the Rosemount D. Puck kicks back to Smith, who plays it behind the net to Barrick. Tries to go up to Telejohn. Puck went past her and all the way down the ice. Almost got on net, but not quite. So we'll have an icing. Rampart, Knutson, and McNee back on the ice, along with Schuler and Krisak. 3:25 left in the second. Shots 19-13 in favor of Rosemount. 2-0 scoreline. Puck won, face-off won by Shakopee. Knutson came out of there with the puck, but defended hard and lost the stick. Now McNee's got it. Kicks it to herself and manages to get it out the zone, but Rampart putting some pressure on through the neutral zone. Puck pops out. Rosemount able to control. Number 5 for Rosemount comes into the zone. She's driving far side. Schuler pushes her wide. Still on the puck. She goes back to D. Wrister gets deflected wide. Redirect just missed on the far side. Krisak and Rampart battling. Centering pass makes it onto a Rosemount stick, but unable to get a shot off. Rampart up the ice, but can't get a lot on it. McNee's there. She'll play it off the near side boards. Ends up behind the net. Knutson putting the pressure on. Prevents an easy clear. Krisak with the wrister that one hops the goalie, and she's able to hold on. That'll give us another stoppage. 2:17 left. Huberty, Anderson, and Tocek back on the ice. Barrick and Cam Krisak will at the D. Face-off tied up by Huberty. Rosemount comes out of there with the puck, ringing around the boards. Exit is intercepted by Krisak. Rosemount plays it behind the net. Huberty gets there, ends up, Anderson gets a stick on it, ends up on Tocek's stick. Anderson able to prevent the puck from clearing. She's going to take a wrister that goes wide on the far side. Rosemount first to the puck, but can't get it out the zone. Barrett goes back off the boards behind the net. Huberty giving chase, as is Tocek, putting good pressure on. Barrett pinches and holds it in momentarily. Finally, Rosemount gets it out. Go for a cross-ice pass that was a little too hot, and Cam Krisak ended up intercepting it. She puts a wrister far side that Anderson and a Rosemount defender were in a battle for. Passes from Rosemount doesn't connect and is going to end up in an icing call. 1:10 left in the second period. Take a momentary break so I can catch my breath while the puck gets skated back into the Shakopee offensive zone. Carlson, Telejohn, and Luth back in the game, along with Smith and Chloe Krisak. Carlson on the draw. Shakopee's been a little better on the draws the last 5 minutes, but that one comes out of there. Rosemount with a 2-on-1. The kick save by Vanesti, and Rosemount had a follow that ended up hitting the bar. That's twice this period. We've gotten bailed out by the post. Goalie's best friend. Luth on the far side, able to poke it up to Carlson. She's going to skate it out. Goes to Telejohn. She's going through the middle of the ice, but quickly closed down by Rosemount. They've been really quick to shut down any space that Shakopee might have. Centering pass cut out by Krisak. She changes directions a few times, can't find a place to go, ends up getting tied up on the far side boards. 20 seconds left. Puck goes back out to a Rosemount defender. Wrister is not super troubling for the goalie. Did get deflected, though. Luth with good pressure managed to get a stick on it. Carlson gets tackled, but no call. Telejohn chips it up. That's going to be the end of the period. All right, we'll take the Zamboni break. Shakopee scoreless second period for both teams, actually. Shakopee still down 2-0. We'll be back in a few after the Zamboni. Welcome back. Ready to start the third period here. Freshly Zamboni sheet of ice. Second period went better for the Sabers, I'd say. Found their sea legs. See if it carries over into the third. Rampart, Knutson, and McNee on the ice. Ref is not waiting for us to get situated and just drops the puck. That was awesome. Bounces to Rampart, who gets a wrister on net. Saved by the Rosemount goalie. Centering pass gets cut out by the Rosemount goalie. Next one goes all the way out to Smith. That'll be offsides. Shakopee was a little slow coming out of the locker room for the third, and the ref was not having it, so she just dropped the ice even though we were not in position. Faceoff ends up on Knutson's stick in the offensive zone. She gets pinned to the boards. We get a cross check on Knutson. I was using. Going to get a cross check on Knutson. She got pinned to the boards. I think they got her for the retaliation. So Rosemount's going to go back on the power play, up 2-0. Penalty kill is Barrick, Telejohn, Huberty, and Krisak. Face-off tied up, but ends up on a Rosemount stick. D-to-D pass does not connect and pops out of the zone. Rosemount has to regroup. Stick comes off, or puck comes off a stick hard, but 15, this appears to be one of their power skaters. Brings it all the way into the zone. Her wrister got deflected, and Vanesti able to make the save. She's going to wheel into the slot and take a shot. Vanesti there again. We get a stoppage. 1:30 left on the kill. McNee and Rampart are going to come in for Telejohn and Huberty. D will stay the same for Shakopee. Rosemount will change all 5 of the power play skaters. Rosemount controls the draw. D-to-D, wrist shot, takes a funny hop, but Vanesti was in good position and managed to redirect it to the back wall. Barrick crashes into the boards, trying to tie up the Irish. Centering pass got knocked around a little bit, ends up on Rampart's stick. She's able to clear. McNee on the forecheck. Puck ended up right on her stick. Had a nice shorthanded opportunity there. Backhander went wide. Rosemount able to get it back into the zone. Rampart can't clear. Rosemount will set up the power play. Wrister hits a stick out front. Puck ends up trickling down. Rosemount controls it but couldn't get a shot off. Defender can't hold on to the puck, and McNee has a 2-on-1 with Rampart. She takes the wrister, goes high off the shoulder. Defender did a good job of taking away the pass there. She had to take a shot. Nice wrister, nice drop pass from Rosemount. Wrister was saved by Vanesti. Smith takes a dive in the crease. That was momentarily problematic. Centering pass gets covered by Vanesti. 3 seconds left in the penalty. Shakopee is going to change all 4 skaters. Carlson, Anderson, Barrick, and Chloe Krisak. Carlson will take the face-off. Carlson wins the draw, bounces off the boards to Barrick. She's going to skate around the backside. Hits Knutson coming out of the box. She's coming into the offensive zone. Takes a wrister. Rebound is sitting there. Anderson gets tied up with one of the Rosemount defenders who hits the ice hard. She's down. We're going to get a stoppage. Anderson and whomever that is were battling for the loose puck rebound and got tangled up. They both went down. Rosemount defender hit the ice pretty hard, or hit the boards pretty hard, I should say. So hope that she's all right. trainer is being escorted over there, so we will focus our energy elsewhere for the moment. Keep you posted on that. Stay tuned for the varsity game. If you are sticking around, it starts at 7. Varsity coming off their first win of the season this weekend. All right, the Rosemount player able to skate off under her own power, so everybody's thankful for that. She did exit the rink, though, so to the locker room, so hopefully she's okay. Looked like it might be a collarbone. Rosemount controls the face-off. Puck ends up on the far side boards. Huberty runs it down. Rosemount unable to clear momentarily, but eventually get it up to the neutral zone. Krisak in the right spot to prevent the puck from entering the zone. Backhanded centering pass cut out by Tocek. She goes off the boards, tries to chip it up. Anderson goes over to help, but Rosemount able to hold the puck in. Puck pops out. Vanessa got a stick on it, but the rebound popped out to a Rosemount stick, but Brister was wide. Barrick will come out of there with it. Going to skate it up the ice. Sabers are going for a change, so she's all by herself. Goes cross ice. Telejohn off the bench quickly. Centering pass goes past the first player. Luth ends up on Carlson's stick. Tries to dump it back to Telejohn and ends up on a Rosemount stick. Puck goes all the way down the ice. Icing gets waved. Smith up to Carlson, who loses control of the puck. Comes through the neutral zone to Luth. That's going to be offsides. Carlson lost an edge in the zone. He's able to touch up. And Shakopee on the forecheck aggressively, able to hold the puck in. Backhanded up but not out by Rosemount. And then put back down the near side boards by Smith. Rosemount's going to run it down behind their own net. Clearance up the middle. Held onto momentarily by Smith, but ends up on a Rosemount skate, then a Rosemount stick, and they manage to get the puck into the offensive zone. Shakopee ties it up on the far side boards. Puck hits the ref and stops for a moment, pops out. Wrister from the Irish defender had some good power on it. Vanesti was in the right spot. Deflected the rebound to the boards. Nice pass. That was a fantastic puck movement by Rosemount, unfortunately. Puck ended up in the slot with nobody home, one-on-one with Quinn Vanesti, and Rosemount gets their third of the day. 9:50 left in the third. Rampart, McNee, and Knutson back on the ice, along with Barrick and Chloe Krisak. See if Shakopee can break the seal here and get something in the net. Rosemount controls the faceoff and dumps it deep. Puck deflects out. Rampart's on it. Loses it. And Rosemount dumps it back in the zone. They'll have to touch up, so Barrick will get a head start at the puck. She chips it up the boards, and McNee gets a poke on it. Gets it out of the zone, but Shako unable to control, and Rosemount back on it. They lose the pass to Barrick, who's going to skate around the back of the net. He loses the puck momentarily to the forecheck, but ends up back on her stick. She chips it. It's going to end up all the way down the ice for an icing. She about a stride behind center ice there. So the puck's going to come back down in the Shakopee defensive zone. Shakopee will change all 5 skaters. The Huberty, Tocek, Anderson line is back out there, along with Smith and Cam Krisak. Faceoff goes to the far side boards. Anderson and Huberty over there, along with a couple of Irish skaters. Irish come out of there with the puck. 15, one of their stronger skaters, has it. She gets tied up by Huberty. Got around Smith, but Huberty was there for the backup. Puck along the near side boards. Anderson comes out of there with it. She's driving the middle of the ice. She's traveling laterally, and Tocek was unable to hold her foot on the line. Got to get the puck in the zone. Those skaters will change. Carlson, Luth, and Telejohn back on the ice. Luth backhands it into the zone. Rosemount able to control. Telejohn with good pressure. Puck pops out to Carlson. Tries to go to Luth. Can't hold on to the puck, and Rosemount able to retrieve it. They'll go up the far side boards on their breakout. Backhand through center ice. Carlson just passed her stick. She couldn't hold it in. Smith brings it back into the zone. She gets taken out of the play. Puck comes out, able to be controlled. Ends up on Telejohn's stick, but again, Rosemount right in the right spot to prevent anything dangerous from happening. Krisak onto the ice and immediately on the puck. Luth on the forecheck, causing some trouble for Rosemount. Chip up the boards, bounces over a Rosemount stick. Krisak is going to skate back and retrieve it. She's got 2 Irish forecheckers right behind her. She backhands it, ends up right on a Rosemount stick. They then put it behind the net off the boards. Puck pops out on a Rosemount stick. Couldn't get a shot off, and Knutson's going to come out of there with the puck. Poke check from Rosemount ends up holding up Knutson momentarily. A wrister from the blue line is deflected aside easily by the Rosemount goalie. Rosemount trying to break out. Puck comes out to Knutson, who slaps it back behind the net. McNee first to a backhand centering pass. Goes right across the crease. Nobody was home. Knutson tries to go to McNee. It was a good idea, but too many Rosemount defenders in the way. Rister from Krisak ends up wide. Knutson is going to be the first to the rebound. She tries to get it back to Krisak. Puck was just a little bit too far in front, and Krisak unable to control. Krisak goes off the boards to Knutson, who tries to go back to McNee, but again, just a little bit off target there. Knutson goes to Smith, who tries to go back to Krisak, and puck will be run down by Rosemount. Again, just a little bit off target today. Sabers a little sloppier than they were the last couple of games. Rosemount turns the Sabers over and manages to get a couple of shots on goal there, but Vanesti's in the right spot, makes a couple of good saves, and is able to cover. 6:11 left in the third. Shot differential up to 13, with Rosemount 32 shots on goal to 19 for the Sabers. Huberty, Anderson, Tocek, Smith, and Krisak on the ice for the Sabres. Rosemount wins the faceoff. Shot goes off the boards, saved 3 times by Vanesti, and then she's able to cover. A nice pad save there on the first rebound, able to keep it out of the net. Shakopee losing track of the puck a little bit here in the third period. Rosemount's gotten some good open chances. Rosemount controls the faceoff. Smith rides the Rosemount forward in the boards, and she'll pin the puck up against the boards with her skate. Dug out of there by one of the other Rosemount forwards. Comes out to Huberty. Tocek gets there. She's got a 2-on-1 with Anderson if they hurry. She takes the shot. It gets saved and kicked out to the boards. Tocek gets the rebound and rings it back around. Huberty's going to get there first. She tries to center it. It goes off the leg pad of the goalie. It comes out to Tocek. Gets it to Anderson, who scores! Anderson was sitting in the slot, and kind of a lazy pass ended up right on her stick, and one-timer ends up in the net. I think the shot might have hit a Rosemount stick, deflected up over the blocker side, but Sabres will take the goal. That's Anderson's first goal of the season. She'll be pleased with that. Go along with 5 assists, and 5:20 left in the game, and Sabres are finally on the board. Those 5 skaters, those 3 forwards will stay on the ice. Barrick and Chloe Krisak take the defensive spots for Shakopee. Rosemount quickly back on the attack. Puck ends up behind the net. Puck comes out in the middle. Glove down by Shakopee. Anderson comes out of there with it. She chips it deep, goes around the Rosemount defender. She gets pinned against the boards and loses the puck. Tocek down there to battle. And then here comes Carlson. Puck goes up the boards, held in by Krisak. Like she got tied up there. Shakopee able to keep the pressure on, though, and get a change. Telejon off the bench with authority, tries a centering pass. It hits a skate. She passes it to Anderson, who wrister goes just wide on the backside. Almost got number 2. Carlson was back there, too. Anderson and Telejon tie up. The Rosemount skaters come through the neutral zone. They'll get a change after the puck gets dumped deep. Carlson giving chase. Luth on the ice along with Telejon. Barrick and Krisak back. Wrister ends up hitting Vanesti on the chest. Maybe might have gloved it down. Rebound kicked wide. Carlson goes off the boards. Wrapped back around the net. 3:45 left. Barrick's going to come out of there. Near side boards. She goes up the boards. Luth can't get to it, and it ends up back behind the Shakopee net. Telejon tries to chip it up the boards, but no forwards there for Shakopee. Not sure. Wrister goes wide. Luth fans on the clearance. Ends up on Carlson's stick, and she'll ice it. Had a couple skaters on the ice for quite a while there, so needed change. 3:17 left. McNee, Knutson, and Rampart back as the forwards. Smith and Cam Krisak as the defenders for Shakopee. Face off in the defensive zone near side circle. Won by Rampart. Goes off the boards to Smith. She's going to go behind the net. Gets it back in her forehand. Off the boards. Goes up to Knutson. Goes through the middle of the ice to McNee. She's driving but gets ridden off towards the far side boards. Managed to get a wrister on net. Not a lot of juice on it though, and the Rosemount goalie was able to kick it aside. Rosemount comes out of there with decent speed. Tried the centering pass, but it got cut out nicely by Rampart. She's got it back on McNee's stick, who's able to get the puck in the zone. Can't get the shot off, but centering pass off the side of the net. Nobody in the vicinity for Shakopee, and that allows Rosemount to escape. Passes behind the Rosemount forward and cut out by McNee. Able to clear the zone, but back on a Rosemount stick. McNee backhands it into the offensive zone just so Shakopee can get a change. Quick counter by Rosemount gets up to the forward. Barrick ends up with the stick, but she's got a lot of pressure from the Rosemount forward. Chips it up the boards, takes a crazy bounce off the boards. Ends up on Anderson's stick. She backhands it, 5-hole through one of the skaters, ends up on Tochek's stick. Enters the zone, chips it deep, and she'll chase it. Huberty is also down there along with Anderson. They're able to tie up the exit. Ends up on Barrick's stick, who goes back off the boards behind the net. Huberty wins the race to the puck there, gets pinned against the boards. Tochek trying to help. Might have gotten away with the trip there, but still battling. Puck pops out onto a Rosemount stick, and they're going to come through neutral ice with some speed. Chip it deep. Partial change. Barrick's going to win the race to the puck. Tried to backhand it up the boards, but Rosemount in good position, I should say. Able to keep possession. Backhanded shot. Coming out of there, Vanesti was well aware of what was happening, which is important. Puck ends up on Anderson's stick, who loses it. It's poke checked away, and Rosemount keeps the puck in the zone momentarily, but it skips over a stick and will finally escape. Puck chipped deep. We've got 50 seconds left. It ends up on Anderson's stick, near side boards, and she'll chip it deep. She's going to go for a change. Telejohn and Carlson off the bench with some speed. Down 2 goals. Shakopee's not going to pull the goalie. Puck chip down the ice is going to kill some time. We're down to 30 seconds left. Smith will go back to retrieve it. She goes cross ice across the far side boards to Telejohn. She spins with it, tries to go to Luth through the middle, but hits a Rosemount skate, and Rosemount back on the attack. Driving hard to the net. Great save by Vanesti. Rebound kicked out near side, but Smith was able to prevent Rosemount from getting the follow-up shot off. Smith comes out of there with the puck, gets it up the boards. That's going to be the end of the game. So Rosemount will take this one 3-1. First game that the Sabres have dropped in a couple of weeks. Outshot 38-21. Vanesti had a good game, made a lot of good saves, but they couldn't keep them all out of the net. I think our next game is Saturday. So until then, I'm sorry? Prior Lake. Ooh, rivalry game on Saturday. So don't miss that one. We will see you back on Saturday. Stick around for the varsity game.